years as a Group Secretary of Financial Reporting Council. Thank you very much. Our relationship dates back to your days as the Commissioner of Finance in Lagos State. Thank you very much. Chairman, the newly minted Chairman of PENCOM, thank you. Thank you very much for your partnership, as you mentioned, and the context that you set as per the reforms. We are not lost about the reforms. In fact, my first speech when I joined NECA many years ago, one of the components was, over 11, 12 years ago, one of the key elements was the need for the government then to remove fuel subsidy. So every AGM address of successive president of NECA, it has always reinforced the need for fuel subsidy then to be removed. And today it has been removed, and we're all living the reality of it. NSITF, Barrister, thank you very much for your partnership. We are not taking it for granted. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, the IG, AP represented by AIG, Olaya, thank you very much. Our partners, Man, Nasima, Nasmi, and Nasi, we also want to appreciate you. MDs that are here, DGs, ES of MDAs, thank you very much for joining us. Now, the summit is 5 years, and for some of us that can remember another context of another summit, the NESG summit. The NESG summit will be 32 years this year, or 33 years. And for us, we felt with the strength of over 35 sectoral employer groups, employer groups from construction, from chemical and non-metallic, from food and beverages, from iron and steel, from shop and distributive, from chemical and non-metallic, and over 35 sectoral employer groups, all subsumed under NECA. We feel it was important that the employer's voice is heard, not within the context of ESA, but employers to come together and actually share their perspectives about the economy and what can enable the private sector to fulfill its objective as the engine of national development. And 5 years ago, the summit was birthed, and today, the 5th edition of the summit. And over the 5 years, we have on record that the summit has come up with policy recommendations, not atrocious policy recommendations, but policy recommendations that successive governments have found very, very useful, from the first edition in Transcorp Hotel up to the 5th edition in Abuja Continental. The summit has shaped conversations, has built the confidence with stakeholders. And today, we have with us, probably later today, the Minister of Finance will be taking the session after this opening ceremony, and I want to encourage you to be here. We're having the Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment. We're having the Minister for State for Budget also joining us. We're having the Director General of National Health Insurance Authority, and key reform drivers in this administration coming to share with us how far with those reforms. As the chairman of PENCOM said, are those reforms necessary? We know they were very necessary, because we were as someone made an analogy that before now, we were all eating our breakfast for dinner. And when the president came and said, when it was done, and we were all asking for breakfast, I said, look, we've eaten the breakfast. We ate it last night. And there's no, the consequence of fasting in the morning or probably in the afternoon, maybe the food will come in the night. We all have to see. But that's the reality of the situation, and we're not lost in the context of the reforms and the necessity of the reforms when they came. So for us in the private sector, this conversation remains germane so that nobody can shave our head behind us, so that we can tell government this is where the shoe pinches. We can tell government this is the policy recommendations that we think will drive the private sector to achieve its objectives as the engine of national development. And by the grace of God, with the permission of the president of NECA, by the grace of God, with our reach, with our partnerships in over 54 African countries, with our partnership at the international level with the International Labour Organization, with over 187 member countries of the ILO, by 2027, by next year, the summit will be transiting from the Nigeria Employers Annual Employer Summit to the International Employer Summit from 2027. I hope you give us a round of applause. So it's not only going to be a conversation within the Nigerian context, but to be a conversation that will drive investment, because with our reach in over 187 ILO member countries and over 50 African countries, it can shape the kind of investment that comes to the country. It can shape conversation on labor migration. It can shape conversation in any part of the economy that you might want to think of. So we want to urge all of us, if you are not a partner of the summit as at now, please reach out to be partner of this summit, because we are going somewhere. And in the next few years, we'll really be shaping the conversation within the context of not only the organized private sector of Nigeria, but the organized private sector of Africa and also the world. So that is the story, the short brief of the summit where we started from, and hopefully where the summit is going to go. It's not a talk shop. It's going to be a talk shop. We won't spend the humongous amount spent to bring us together. We won't have spent it if it's aimed to be a talk shop. But it's going to be practical, it's going to be engaging, it's going to be fact-driven, and I can assure you, the ministers that are coming have given us their word that issues that are germane within the context of implementation of the reforms are those issues that we are going to discuss this afternoon and then tomorrow. This afternoon, reforms in focus. Please wait and be part of that conversation. And later in the afternoon, we'll be taking this session on the industrial policy. You need to listen to the industrial policy. Tomorrow morning, if you're an MSME, if you're an SME, if you're a big business owner, tomorrow morning we'll be discussing the ESG itself and how ESG is shaping the conversation across board. Then in the afternoon, we'll take the DG Payback on the conversation on regulators, regulating the regulators. That we'll have in the afternoon. And to sum up the summit tomorrow, we'll be having the big conversation that affects you, that affects me, that affects all of us. We'll be looking at the tax reforms, the implementation of the tax reforms, and how can the private sector play a more deeper role in shaping the conversation and helping this, not only this administration, but helping the nation to achieve its full objectives as a giant of Africa. So thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to hoping we'll see our faces tomorrow when we'll be doing the vote of thanks. Thank you, and God bless.